Did you have a break off the exhibition? Or did you?
No, I haven't had a break for years.
No, same with me.
I was thinking, I didn't.
Yeah. Did you feel like you needed one, or you?
I do feel like I need one sometimes.
It's true, yes.
I haven't, I don't think I've actually stopped since the whole Language of Clay started properly.
Good. So did contacts happen through the exhibition, or was it just from your past?
I think it was that, but I was also doing other shows as well, so when that sort of keeping things going, which you probably found the same. You have the show, but you still have your galleries.
Yes, yeah.
So it's, I don't know whether, I mean, I suppose, because I've got, my daughter's 12, so I still have
busy.
But it does mean like in the summer holidays I can, I suppose I do stop. I just feel I don't stop sometimes. But work-wise, I would like a bit of a break.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Being going somewhere inspiring and really chilling and come back.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, would you think somewhere you would like to go that would change your work? Or do you think?
I do feel that I would like to go somewhere I would like to see another environment. I'd like to go and experience. I'd actually quite like to see some ceramics being done somewhere else in another country.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's going off and she's a painter, but she's going to Iceland for a month.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think I think it would just be quite good to just be somewhere else to work. I don't know about you. Have you done any residencies? Have you gone off anywhere?
I went to one in Philadelphia, in America, for got that sort of 2 months there.
What's that? That's the
Clay Studios.
Yeah.
That was an experience. Yes. That was because obviously they had the residence artists. They were like professionals like us upstairs, the youngsters. But unfortunately, we didn't get to meet them very much. But I did befriend one or two at the very end.
Did you go on your own?
On my own, yes. But the flat came with the deal was across the road.
Right.
So I felt very isolated in some ways, which I would have been. It was so annoying because I would have been. Because when I came at the end, and even the resident artist said they wish they had more contact with the visiting artists like me. They wish they had that we should be in their space rather than the associate people. They paid for they just paid for a time, a slot.
Because actually, when you're going off to do a residency, one of the it's important to be sort of working, but actually one of the biggest parts I found, because I've done symposiums in Poland, and actually some of the biggest things is when you get together. So the social times. That's actually. I think they kind of can make more of an impact because you work on your own anyway.
Yeah. So
to go off,
it would have been brilliant. I mean, that's the only thing. And I think that and I'm talking because I did befriend a Japanese artist who was there, and she invited me up to with because she couldn't get through the door to be was a locked door.
So I've moved my car. Already.
Okay, I've done mine, and they said to me, I said I wish I could have known you earlier, and I would have been because you could talk about things, same experience like making, surviving, a living, and I'd be interested to see how they survived and make a living in America, and just the techniques.
And also it's also getting to know how that process, how it all works, because actually I think probably across the board we're all, whether you're in America, here, there, and everywhere, we're all just sort of solitarily getting on with it.
You think everybody else is fine and getting it well. I mean, it's interesting. Somebody saying like I was thinking, I'm the one who didn't feel worthy of this thing, and then thinking, well, we all felt.
I think we all felt like
that's what I mean. You feel like someone's going to discover that they made a mistake because the wrong name came out, or something like that.
But that's sort of imposter syndrome. That kind of feeling.
That's it. Yeah.
Like with my work, they're very clear. I want the movement. But somebody once said to me, and it was another potter who throws, and she realised it was something that she should have kept in her head, but it came out and she said, my work looks like a mistake. And even though I know that it's not, it's really hard sometimes to remove that thought.
It may have been not necessarily a negative thing.
No, but it was the way, I think she realised it was something she shouldn't have said because there's a reason why I do things in a certain way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really hard. But when somebody says it's that thing, I suppose it's that once you can't. It's like you can't untext something. You can't unhear something. and once it's there, and so but then I think we all probably, as artists and makers, we all sort of go with our own work. I mean,
yes, we feel very...
I was very excited when I set my show up here, and then I think when I came to see it again, I was suddenly, it's like I could pull it, but that was probably to do with how I felt. I could pull it apart quite easily.
It's interesting talking how other people feel similar. I mean, the thing is, I like you make work for galleries or exhibition, and it tends to be packed up and gone. You can't see it, and I think because you have to give talks and things, and to look at work and think, right, then any chance to review where your work has gone, because you just carry on, as the years go by, you carry on making things, without thinking, time out, thinking, what have I done all these years? Where is my work in your history?
And it's interesting what you were saying about the time scale for this. So if you had your time again, you'd go. But I think we could probably feel that. I think also even if you had a year, you might. But I totally understand where you come from, because I've looked at images, and actually you might find the same. My work is sort of, it has definitely informed how I'm working. And it gave me that impetus to carry on doing what I'm doing. It's like, which feels slightly risky.
Yeah.
In making, on a day-to-day level of making money or whatever. But I've never compromised, so I will always. Which you probably say, so maybe from that level it's done the same for you as well. Yeah, it's just always a... Right, I think it's always a good time to stand back at times and just almost say, it's like you're driving along in a car and then you say, well, stop, where am I going? Have I gone the right direction? Yeah. And maybe, and then just really look at the view, basically, as you were driving, as you could drive along the way and not see beautiful countryside or whatever, or the bad country, or the bad views. You can't see it because. So actually, by sort of almost like you say, from your point, maybe I'm wrong here, but from your point of view, so you need more time. But the fact that you can see that now. Yeah. So it's about. Do you think would you allow yourself to do that now? Well, I think. Can you allow yourself the time and? Well, it's depending on the venue, but there is a possibility that another chance of an exhibition. This other guy that's I've sort of got in contact with it very recently, and I think they like big group exhibitions. I think, but like next year, because I think that gives us good, because it gives me time to talk to the gallery owners, the people first, and say what do they think. And then give me a chance to work with them and say, well, what I would like to do is do this or that, and does that fit in with their vision of how. But I think it's also because I think you're in a position where you can say that this is what I want to make. It's almost sometimes. So with this one, you felt that you needed more time, so you could have achieved that. But you can take that thoughts with you, and then sort of take it on, because it's. I think it's. So it's that thing of something that maybe didn't. It's being able to just go, okay, I can see that. When you're in the moment, you're a bit traumatised. But I think and stressed. But standing back, you're thinking. No, it wasn't so bad. Maybe it was awful standing and giving a talk to people because you hate talking about your work in front of people. But looking back, it did make you force you having to say things about your work, and that is important. Yeah. And I think to actually see your work in the environment. Yeah. It's really, I think it's really like, because for all of us, I mean, I've never been in this position. It petrified. It did. I didn't know whether I could do it. It's like sort of belief in my every aspect of my making. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, the talks, and I was petrified at all of them. Yes. So kind of I think I did something for Wrexham last year, and it was the first one I did completely on my own, and I could feel the blood coming out my hands because I was just like so scared. Yes, I think when I was in Ruthin, I had this bottle of water, and I was playing, and then eventually Philip Hughes took it out of my hand, just sort of because he was so fed up, just playing with this bottle of water, because I was just so stressed that I was. Because I did it in conversation, but there weren't very many people, and Alex McCurlane did that with me, and then I did a demonstration. But again, he was there next to me, because it was. I was quite nervous. It's sort of, because I don't talk in my studio. Well, I do, but to myself, I'm not going to do that outside of the studio. So it's quite, it's a different, it's, I suppose we've suddenly put in, we kind of, not hide, but we can just get on.
Yeah, it's a bit of like, it's like navel gazing sort of thing. We're sort of internal, and we criticise ourselves quite a lot. We think everyone else is criticising us, and perhaps they are saying, we don't hear the positive, we tend to hear the negative thoughts and things, shout, and the quite positive things to say, no, I didn't hear that.
But that's exactly, we're all very good at that, aren't we? We can, it's that thing, it's kind of, somebody was talking about it, you can have like loads of really good comments, but if one person, like the person who said my work looks like a mistake, it's almost I instantly forgotten all the other people that say, I love your work. Yeah. But that one stays with you. Yeah. So it's this kind of how we, so actually doing, all of us meeting together, I think this has been really good. Yeah, it's been it's good to have all of us. Yeah. It's lovely because I hadn't met you, so out of all of us, so
it's good to meet other potters, and then you realise we all on the same sort of wavelength. Thinking, and just because somebody was thinking, they look so with it, and they know, and so sort of, and the way they express themselves, because they really go, I can't talk like that. And you think you're the hopeless one, and when they say thinking, no, I was scared too, and you're thinking, well, yeah, you're not the only one.
Well, that's the thing. It's everyone has a perception of what they think somebody is. Yeah, and it's somebody said to me once they thought I was scared. They'd be too scared to speak to me. I was just like, oh my God. Right. And I was just like, why? Yeah.
It was interesting because years ago I was in Switzerland. I was doing first there was a mixed British ceramic show before, and then they had a ceramic symposium or something in like a craft art centre just outside Lucerne, and one of the people there was Elizabeth Fritsch, right? And and I thought, oh gosh, she's like the big, huge, massive star. But she came as a very sort of down to earth, and she almost was thinking, I wish people would come and visit me in my studio. She would come and have a cup of tea, whatever.
Well, up in North Wales.
She was in Switzerland.
But it is David and Mark.
Fritsch, the famous spotter, the famous the sort of.
Yes, I know him.
Yeah, anyway, but the 17
ended up.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
Carry on, actually. No, it's fine. It's good.
She was very down to earth, and she was surprised nobody wanted to come because she's a big name, but she was not that at all. She was very, very down to earth.
I think people don't realise my friend did an auction or to raise money for the recent sort of bushfires in Australia, and some other friends put some work in of hers who she knows, big names, and she said, I wish they'd realised, but it was quite nice because actually they are just normal people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we all hold each other. So.
Ingrid Murphy. And I'm Ricky, and we're at Mission Gallery, and brisk, sunny and chilly. What is it, 6th of February 2020?
When was
post-Brexit Britain?
Oh God, When was your exhibition here?
The one here in this space was opened on the 1st of February last year, so it would have been up this time last year. I came back from India and put it up.
Because I feel really sad, but for some reason I missed it. God knows where I was.
Oh Lord, I missed loads. I tell you. Yeah.
But the way you were talking about it, I was just thinking, oh God, I really wish I could have seen it. But I said to Ceri that I wish, in a way, that we'd had this conversation at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it's so lovely to hear. And it kind of opens a door for me too, because I feel like my mind is a bit small, or a bit...
Different things sometimes. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. It would be funny if we'd had it at the beginning, because I think...
And at the end.
At the end, beginning, I think it would have been really interesting, and it might have allayed some of our fears.
Yeah,
because I think the truth of the matter, we all had different challenges to meet.
We had similar fears.
Yeah, and definitely similar fears, which is inevitable, isn't it? Really. Yeah. But yes, ironically, I thought this was going to be my favourite space of the tour, and a bit like everybody else, I suppose this was the one I was most familiar with and had in my mind. and probably dictated some of the choices I made at the beginning. But actually, it wasn't my favourite space in the end at all.
Was that Bristol?
Yeah, I really liked Clontarnum for the scale of it. It suited the work better in one sense, but then Aberystwyth did present a lot more possibilities because it was such a big space. But it was completely different scale altogether, really, for me, for my work. But yeah, that was interesting. So did you enjoy doing it?
Oh yeah, I did enjoy it. I mean, it was this feeling of being valued, I think, more than anything. And I think it's Ceri's nature and her character and the way she was, because everybody says she got emails now, she was so organised. So in that way you feel very held. It wasn't sort of chaotic. Yeah. She was, it was just, I think she sort of managed the way she is. She makes everybody feel very special.
Absolutely.
Very important in it. And you don't get that many relationships. I mean, the other one that I had where I did feel very cared for was in Oriel many years ago in Cardiff.
Yes, I remember.
And that was Jenny Spencer Davis.
Yes, Jenny Spencer Davis,
So it's nice because they've both been in Wales, but they're both Arts Council funded. Arts Council Wales funded. And they were kind of generous. When they commit to something, they have been generous.
I mean, I found that quite extraordinary, the fact that so much of the worry is taken away by you having somebody like Ceri at the helm and Rian, because and that thing where you get the phone call and say, well, they'll be long to pick up the work, and I'm like, really? They'll be long to pick up the work, and then it's like, oh, you'll need to go and help install the work, so here's a nice place to stay while you do it, and you're like, really? It was amazing. That was fantastic, and for me, to be able to say to the university, which was a big thing, I'd have to ask for time off, and they'd say, oh yeah, it was a busy time or whatever, and I'd go, but it's an Arts Council funded show, and they'd go, off you go, because it's that level of kind of public endorsement that you kind of go, it's important. It's important for art in Wales. It's not just important for me. They're seeing it as important for the sector. So you go, great. That was
and the Arts Council Wales do seem to be supporting ceramics in a way that.
Well, and it's great because it's a hotbed of productivity, and I think if we don't promote it as well, if the Arts Council doesn't keep underpinning it in certain ways, then we'll struggle. We could lose that. That community isn't robust enough to survive without any type of recognition or formal support. So, and what are you working on at the moment?
Well, I'm trying to get a little bit more balance. I mean, all my life I've wanted to do more hand building.
Oh, right.
When I was at Harrow, Mo Jupp was teaching us, and he was so lovely and so inspiring. 1970 to 72.
Oh, my Lord. Christy Brown wasn't there then, she was much later, wasn't she? 76, 78, I think. Okay.
And I think Mo was one of my every week, we had a day with Mo. It's about my favourite. And I really had fun there. And for me, the hand building, I love throwing. It's not that I don't love throwing, I love making pots. But the hand building explores a more uncertain part of myself, and I just want to give myself that time before. I'll regret it if I've never. But it's difficult when you're a thrower. It's so slow. That's what it feels like. I think I accomplished one. I had 2 days just now. And each day I just about pulled together one pot, one sort of form. But I like the kind of, I was just doing some kind of very simple things, slab things, but the kind of geometry involved in it, that's kind of interesting to me. So
it's interesting how the sense of form will be informed by your throwing, but at the same time it gives you this whole asymmetrical capabilities. I think it'd be really fascinating to see how that language fits together in the thrown and hand-built work.
Yes, and I was watching a little bit, now that we have Instagram, I was watching there's somebody called Sunshine, this American potter called Sunshine.
No, I know.
Well, she's kind of wild and she's great. And she does loads of videos. I think, your students would like it. So she does a lot of coil pots, but she's got a really good aesthetic. And I know, I was just watching her through, because I think I need to learn a thing or two. But I noticed that a lot of tips that she's giving, I already know that stuff from from handling clay all these years. Yeah, so I thought, oh, good. I'm not so far behind.
Exactly. I've got a good knowledge base.
Yeah, I've got a good, there's just something that we get off it, isn't there?
Yeah. I slip cast, and I hate slip casting. I'm a hand builder. Yeah. But because of the nature of the work that I do, I slip cast now. And it's still foreign to me. My molds are atrocious. Like, they're atrocious.
Do you make the molds?
Oh, I make the molds. But I make them at the weekend so the students don't see how bad they are. Because they're shocking. I'm like, I call it punk ceramics. I'll make a 3-piece, because the time is just like, I do not have time. Yeah. So I'll make a 3-piece, 4 or 5-piece mold in like a day. Like, I'll make a 3-piece mold in 2 hours, and that will tell you how bad it is. And then I will just fill all the holes in pour, because I'll only need to get maybe 2 casts out of it ever in its life. So it's not like it has to be enduring. But yeah, so
because you're working towards the idea.
Very
so the
much.
fact that you're not enjoying the process so much, do you just you manage to?
I have to suppress that, because otherwise I would be sitting in my the ideal would be I could sit in the studio and spend days on something, and get it refined and I just don't have that luxury anymore. So it's like, okay, how can I get this done in such a way that I can turn this piece around? And frequently I'll have like a week to turn a piece around that will need 3 firings and electronics up its bum or whatever. So like literally I'll be like, it has to be out, has to be dry, has to be bisque glazed, lustered in 5-6 days from scratch. So the only way I can do that is to cast it quickly and get it, and because I might be working with multiples, then the casting helps. But it's not, it's so funny, because I'll just be sitting there with plastic clay doing things while the molds are drying and just making the things, but they won't be part of the work. So it's,
but there's something.
I'm a big slab builder. That's where I'm happiest. That's where I'm happiest. Like architectural slabs, cutting and building and all of that. But that. It's just the work took a bit of a swerve ball working with the more historical artifacts. So it's, but I'll come back, I'll find a way of navigating back. But it's that thing of being able to use, I found out using objects, because I wanted to use objects that have very strong associative powers for people. I had to use very mundane or banal objects that they could understand from their own histories. So designing your own objects or creating your own forms doesn't allow people to do that. They come at that with a new sense, and I need to be able to tap into an old sense of recognition. So it's more important that I use the more ready-made or the historical form for people to readily make that shift. Otherwise it's asking them to do too many leaps, I think. And the work just doesn't work that way.
And so what are you asking them to do then, or inviting them to do?
Well, so I suppose it's that idea of being able to maybe turn an object into an interface. So by touching it or by engaging with it in some way, you have another response that's usually technologically augmented in the work, either it links onto the internet or whatever, that they have a response to it that they might not expect from a domestic object. So it changes the potency of that object in some way. So like, for example, the hand that was here, when you touch it, it would illuminate. You touch it and the bone china illuminates, but it also then illuminates another hand in my home, so I simultaneously see if someone's engaging with the work in the exhibition. It would also light up in my house. And then things like dinner plates that you could put on a gramophone player and play as sound, and the pattern becomes sound. So things like that. So you begin to pull other formal qualities out of things that we easily recognise and give them a different value. That's it, really.
I could imagine that being like really fascinating to people. Absolutely.
It subverts their thinking a little. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Last venue I was at was at Llantarnam Grange,
Right.
and then I think I worked a lot. I worked with education with young people.
Oh, right.
So I did a lot of workshops, and so I did work, but not my studio practice.
Right.
So that was quite different then. I felt like I had a real different mindset and a different head shift, you know, when you're thinking of other things and you're planning for teaching.
Yeah.
I'm not planning for an exhibition.
Did you feel your approach, because doing this exhibition obviously was, you know, very personal work that you made, and then the work that you try and encourage your students to do. Was that difficult to switch, or
I find that really, it's totally different. You know, it's like I'm wearing a different hat. You know, so I'm demonstrating to them hand building or ideas or drawing. You know, so. And it's quite nice actually, because only recently I've realised that it's been drip feeding into my own practice.
Oh right, yes. I think that I can imagine it happening, that if you're a tutor, or you be inspired by the pupils,
by the young people,
be it you know young people or young children. Yes. And their approach can be thinking, wow, I hadn't thought
different.
That.
Yeah, and the way they see the world. I love working with year 6 pupils, the 10-year-olds.
Oh yes, that's a lovely age.
And they're just so free and uninhibited and just free. You know, they just flow with ideas. You know, you can hold a sponge up and say, what do you think this could be?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a cloud, miss, it's a car, you know. And I love that. Top of an ice cream, and you're like, gosh, you know. So what about yourself, Anna? So you're busy now making?
Yeah, I'm doing some commissions and finishing, and then I've got to get stuck into making a collection of work to galleries and things. So
fantastic.
That's sort of.
So do you know? I was curious to know about your day to day. Do you have a routine of going into the studio?
Well, usually a lot revolves around my little dog.
So, does it? So when you walk,
he's got to have a walk, otherwise he's still in the studio. I've got to walk.
Right. Okay.
So once he's tired, and luckily the beaches are nearby, so I can tire on the beaches. Then I get stuck in with my work as much as I can, and then that's how.
So are you just going, do you have like 10 o'clock start, or it's not as regimented as that?
Not as regimented as that. And again, it does depend on the weather. It depends where I take the dog for a walk. Okay. This is why I mean, if the tide's out, then nearby beach at night it's easy. Then that's the perfect time. In the morning, if it's in later on the day, then it's like, oh, what do I do with you? Because he's a bored puppy.
Okay. so you know the solo show you're going to have next year. How are you approaching that now?
Well, I want to talk to the people who gallery it is, and see what their thoughts are, and the space, because I've only seen it on pictures of it. I haven't seen it in the flesh, so to speak.
I see, right, okay.
But so I want to see how many pieces they think they would like. So, and then I'm because it's like on normal bits of furniture, because that's all quite like, because it's like in a house rather than a gallery space where it's sort of unreal people's homes. Because in the day people buy it, they put it in a home. Not they will put it in a gallery space. They take it to a home.
So when you make them, do you like each piece, is that informed by mythology or
I like the lovely story. I've always been reading lovely stories and things, and the way animals in art, especially more primitive type artwork and early ceramics like early Staffordshire and things like sort of naive type ones, the very early ones, but yeah, I like the way the people, humans and people react in the world. And also people then they tell their stories themselves. They can read things and they can see. Like one person commissioned me to do a man riding a lion because it's of him. Because he was for his 40th, bought for himself, and he said the lion is Ramon's courage, and it's like me at that point in his life. I've got the courage to go forth, brave. Sort of thing. So
wow, it's so wonderful.
So I thought that was rather nice. His version of what he thought it symbolised.
And is that all he says to you? It's just I want a man on a lion, and then he leaves it free.
He was quite specific. He'd seen images, so he said I want it that colour, the lion that colour, the man's going to wear this and this colour,
really?
And this kind of thing. So he wanted a quote from Churchill.
Oh, wow.
On the base, and again with something to do with courage and moving forward. So I think it felt to him as like a personal statement of him moving on his life for 40th time was an important time.
Yeah.
So
the next chapter.
Yeah. So sometimes people, they say something like that, or they. Yeah, so it's interesting what people, how they see when they commission you.
I mean, have you ever had a circumstance where you feel uncomfortable with they're asking you to make, or? I'm just curious. Because
Well, sometimes people ask you things that you can't possibly do. I mean, the gallery owner, he wanted to make a St. Joan figure standing on his legs backwards with a sword in his hand. I think, I can't do that. I didn't fancy this hand.
That's going to tip over the kiln.
And so yes, I mean, do you get similar things people asking you?
No, I don't really make, I suppose, commissions, really. So it's a very different way I work to you, really. So my daily routine is to go to the studio, and my studio is at the bottom of a friend's garden.
Oh, you were saying,
yeah. So it's very cold, it's quiet. There's no internet there.
All right.
So once I go there, I just work, and then I stay till about 4:30. So I'm quite routine, and then I go home. So yeah, but it's good space. It's interesting how a space affects your thinking.
Yeah.
Isn't it really?
Yes,
what's
does,
around you and what interrupts. So I don't have the phone. I have no contact on the phone when I'm there. Right. So
do you feel you have to go outside to spy and go back with the fact you've got that space there now and focused? Or when you go in, if you're focused at?
I've already, because I went to Japan last September for 3 weeks, and that was fantastic. So I've got a whole new set of images on my wall. So I'm working towards a new body of work.
Right.
Just for myself, really. It's not for anyone or a gallery or anything. Right. So the idea is to think about what worked well I felt worked well in the exhibition.
Yes.
And then I've looked at it and thought, right, let's improve on that. How can I improve?
Yes.
So that's where I am at the moment.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing I felt was good, the exhibition. Because so often you box of work, soon as off the kiln.
You don't have no time to...
So you can't stand back, even from a few feet away, and to see what it really looks like. And thinking, so the fact that you had to work on display, thinking, and you could see your work.
Yeah, and reflect then,
and that gives you, maybe once you've got time to be able to think of what you're making, thinking, well, yes, I could, you could determine the scale and the images and how it works.
It's selecting, editing and refining, really.
Yeah, because often you're up here.
Yes, and you need to...
Gosh, now I'm going to stand back. Because my studio's so small.
So is mine.
So it's nice to go, gosh, I can stand back 2 steps. More 2 steps. Go boogie, because I think that was the valuable thing about having something like this. And I think that's helped me. And also other people, like just how they group their work, how they display their work, and how
I think that's interesting.
And so like Mickey, with the way she had the pot is different to Mama and how you displayed your work as well.
I think that was good about, like Ingrid said earlier, we're all so diverse in how our approach and what we make and how we make it. Yeah. I think that's a real positive thing.
Yeah, because whenever I meet people and we see and they say, I do ceramics, there's this blank look in their face of thinking, and they come back tiles?
Yeah. Oh, I get pots, I do. I always get pots. Oh, what pots do you make? Yeah. I'm like, I couldn't throw for my life.
No.
No, I don't make pots.
They think, and I think that maybe from the public's point of view, go see an exhibition.
Yes.
See, yes, you can make pots, you can make sculptural pieces, you can do animals, you can do this, you can make lovely vessel forms.
I know, it has such a wide range of applications, isn't it, really?
I think that may be education for public and for the youngsters.
Yes, that's true.
That you don't have to go to college and thinking, you have to make a certain type of work. You can just...
It's very open.
Yeah. I think that's a nice thing about ceramic as an art form, that it's just completely diverse from scale to, the way you decorate and what you perceive and how you can get inspiration from all over the place.
I think we should end it there. I thought that was perfect.
Okay, I think so too.